Your thoughts are not your own. I know, that sounds like the start of a sci-fi thriller, but stick with me for just 15 seconds. I want you to recall the last time you changed your mind about something. Not something huge, like your life's purpose, but something small, something that snuck up on you. Maybe you suddenly got into baking sourdough bread during the pandemic, or became obsessed with a niche historical figure you never heard of, or even found yourself passionately defending a political idea you used to dismiss out of hand. Got it? Good. Hold that memory in your mind. Feel the certainty you have about it now. Now, what if I told you that moment of personal revelation wasn't entirely personal? What if it was the end result of 1,000 tiny, invisible nudges from a system that knows exactly which buttons to push to keep you watching? A system that learned your secret curiosities before you even knew you had them? Because right now, as you're watching this, there's a silent, global war being fought for every second of your attention. And the grand prize in that war isn't just your time, or your money. It's the very structure of your beliefs. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the architects of that war. We're going to treat that memory of yours like a specimen under a microscope. And you might be shocked at what we find. So, what really is a belief? We like to think of it as a pure flash of insight, a moment of rational clarity born from deep thought. But that's a romantic and dangerously outdated idea. In the digital world, a belief is more like a plant that has successfully grown in a highly competitive garden. I want you to imagine, for a moment, that your mind is a vast, fertile, and chaotic garden. Every idea, every video, every headline, every meme is a seed, scattered across the soil by the winds of the internet. Some are seeds for beautiful flowers of knowledge, complex and slow-growing. Others are hardy vegetables of practical skill. But many, many more are invasive weeds of misinformation, outrage, and division, genetically engineered to grow fast and choke out everything around them. Your attention is the sunlight, the most valuable and finite resource in this entire garden. Nothing can grow without it. Now, who tends to this garden? You might think you do. You think you're walking through, consciously choosing to water the orchids of science and pull out the dandelions of nonsense. But in reality, there's an invisible gardener working 24/7, at a scale no human could ever manage. This gardener is the recommendation algorithm. And this gardener has one, and only one, goal. It's not to help you grow the most beautiful, diverse, or truthful garden. Its goal is to keep your eyes glued to that garden for as long as humanly possible. To do that, it prunes, it waters, and it pumps powerful fertilizer onto the plants that are the most eye-catching, the most dramatic, the most addictive. It doesn't care if it's a flower or a weed, it only cares how long you stare at it. When I say recommendation system, don't picture a single supercomputer in a dark room. That's not it. Picture instead a planet-spanning set of rules, a powerful and invisible current of incentives and feedback loops that guides the flow of information across the globe. This isn't one machine, it's a global ecosystem. And like any current, it has a destination. That destination is measurable, predictable, and it's subtly terraforming the landscape of your reality. So let's map that current. How does this invisible gardener decide what to grow in your mind? It all starts with something called an objective function. That sounds technical, but it's dead simple. Think of it like the destination you type into your car's GPS. The GPS doesn't care if you take the scenic route, or the one that goes past your favorite coffee shop, or the one with the least traffic. Its one and only objective, its entire reason for existing, is to get you to that specific coordinate on the map as efficiently as possible. For an algorithm, the destination isn't a place. It's a number. And the objective is almost always to make that number go up. What number are we talking about? Social media platforms use sophisticated algorithms to prolong user engagement. Social algorithms exist to funnel certain kinds of content to specific audiences, encouraging people to spend more time on the platforms. The goal is to keep users scrolling because they want to serve them advertisements. Engagement. Maximize likes, comments, shares, saves. This is the raw signal of reaction. Retention. Maximize the total time you spend on the platform per session, and the number of times you come back per day. This is the measure of addiction. Revenue. Maximize the number of ads you see and interact with. This is the ultimate business goal. That's it. Notice what's not on that list. Maximize truth. Maximize nuance. Maximize cross-perspective understanding. Maximize your long-term well-being. Those things are complicated, hard to measure, and often, frankly, boring. The algorithm is a thermostat set to a brutally simple temperature, more engagement. It doesn't feel anything. It just constantly, relentlessly tweaks the content you see, this video, then that one, then this headline, until its metric, its temperature, gets higher and higher. How does it learn what you like? It watches everything you do. Every click is a vote. Every second you linger on a video is a vote. Every share, every like, every angry comment, it's all data. It even tracks signals you might not think about, like how fast you scroll past something, or if you type a comment and then delete it. It takes these trillions of data points from billions of users and feeds them into its system. And from this, a terrifyingly simple loop emerges. Content that gets a strong reaction gets shown to more people. When more people react, the system learns that this type of content is highly valuable, so it promotes it even more aggressively. This is a reinforcement loop. And it's how a small, fleeting curiosity, say, watching one video about a political protest, can snowball over the course of weeks into a full-blown, deeply held conviction, fed by a constant stream of algorithmically selected evidence. Okay, so the algorithm wants to keep us hooked. But how does it actually do it? It doesn't have to invent new tricks. It just has to exploit the ancient, hardwired bugs in our own human brains, cognitive biases that have been with us for millennia. There are 3 main cognitive hooks it uses to catch you every single time. First up, novelty. Our brains are fundamentally wired to pay attention to anything new, surprising, or unexpected. It's a survival instinct. In our evolutionary past, a new sound in the bushes or a strange fruit on a tree demanded immediate attention. It could be a predator, or it could be a new source of food. This deep-seated craving for the new is linked to the release of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. The algorithm knows this. It knows that a shocking headline, a bizarre conspiracy theory, a video that starts in a completely unpredictable way, or a piece of information that contradicts what you thought you knew will trigger that dopamine hit and capture your attention. That flash of what is that? Is the algorithm's perfect, unguarded entry point into your mind. Second, and this is the big one, emotional intensity. This is the algorithm's superweapon. Content that makes you feel a powerful emotion, especially high arousal emotions like outrage, anger, awe, or even intense sentimentality, is social rocket fuel. Why? Because strong emotions demand a response. They bypass our rational filters and trigger the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center. We feel an overwhelming compulsion to act, to share our outrage, to validate our anger, to express our shock. A calm, nuanced, 20-page analysis of a complex social issue gets a thoughtful nod from a few hundred people. A 6-word, all-caps headline like everything you've been told is a lie gets 1 million shares in an hour. The algorithm sees this, and it learns a simple, dangerous lesson: outrage equals engagement. And so, it begins to actively seek out and promote the most emotionally inflammatory content, effectively turning your feed into an outrage machine. Third, there is social proof. This is the herd instinct. We are biologically programmed to trust the wisdom of the crowd. It's another survival mechanism. If everyone in your tribe suddenly starts running, you don't stop to ask why, you run too. On social media, this translates into relying on engagement metrics as a shortcut for truth and value. When we see a post with thousands of likes, or a video with millions of views, our brain automatically assumes it must be important or correct. We think, if so many people are looking at this, I should be too. The algorithm masterfully exploits this. It can create information cascades by taking a fringe idea, showing it to a small, highly receptive group, and then using their initial burst of engagement to create a wave of social proof. This makes the idea look mainstream and widely accepted, even when it's not. It manufactures consensus. Novelty, emotion, and social proof. These are the hooks. They are the fertile, chemically engineered soil in your garden where the most dramatic, most polarizing, and often most misleading ideas grow tallest and fastest, casting long shadows that choke out the slower, more complex truths. So, you've probably heard the terms filter bubble and echo chamber. They get thrown around a lot, but they describe 2 different, and deeply insidious, phenomena. Let's get it straight, because knowing the difference is crucial. A filter bubble is your own, unique, personalized universe of information that the algorithm has constructed just for you. It's the specific garden the invisible gardener has cultivated based on your entire history of clicks, views, and interactions. It feels comfortable, validating, and correct, because everything in it seems to perfectly align with and confirm what you already think. It's built through 2 primary mechanisms: content-based filtering, which shows you things similar to what you've liked before, and collaborative filtering, which shows you things that people like you have liked. An echo chamber is what happens when you get trapped inside that bubble with a bunch of other people who are in the exact same bubble. It's a social dynamic. It's a place where the same ideas, phrases, and talking points are repeated, amplified, and reinforced by everyone you encounter, creating the powerful illusion that this narrow viewpoint is the dominant, or even the only, valid perspective. Now, the big debate is, how much of this is the algorithm, and how much is just human nature? The truth is, it's a toxic partnership. We humans are naturally drawn to people who agree with us. It's tribalism. But the algorithm pours gasoline on that tribal fire. Let's make this concrete. Picture this: on screen, we see a timeline. A major social platform, let's call it Platform A, makes a critical decision. They announce they are changing their main ranking algorithm to prioritize long-term session time above all else. They want people to stay on the app for hours, not minutes. Within 6 months, their quarterly earnings report is a huge success. The average time people spend on the site skyrockets. Wall Street is thrilled. Success. But look closer. Independent researchers gain access to the data and run an analysis. They discover that among the heaviest users, the content being recommended is becoming more and more extreme, more conspiratorial, and more politically polarized. Why? Because it turns out that extreme, emotionally charged content is incredibly captivating. It's like a car crash. It's hard to look away. The algorithm, in its blind, mathematical pursuit of its objective function, accidentally created a radicalization engine. It didn't intend to. It just followed the data. Think of it this way. The algorithm doesn't just put you in a bubble. It slowly, meticulously, carves a canyon around you. At first, the walls are low. You can easily see over the edges and observe other landscapes, other points of view. But the longer you stay, the more you engage with the content it provides, the deeper the algorithm carves the canyon. The walls get higher and higher, blocking your view. Until eventually, the only reality you know, the only truth you can see, is the one that exists at the bottom of your own, personalized canyon. Ready for a hard truth? The very systems designed to give you exactly what you want are the same systems that are making it harder to know what's true. This fundamental conflict creates a series of mind-bending and disturbing paradoxes. Let's break down 3 of the biggest ones. Paradox number 1, the personalization trap. The more personalized your feed becomes, the more it feels like it's made just for you. It feels validating. The algorithm just gets you. It knows your sense of humor, your political leanings, your secret interests. And yet, this very process of perfect tailoring is inexorably shrinking your world. By constantly feeding you things you're statistically likely to agree with, it's robbing you of the essential human experience of encountering challenging, diverse, serendipitous, or unexpected ideas. These encounters are the very bedrock of intellectual growth, empathy, and genuine understanding. So the paradox is this: the better the system gets at pleasing you, the less it exposes you to a full and accurate picture of reality. Paradox number 2, the engagement delusion. Platforms are commercial enterprises. Their survival depends on maximizing engagement, which they then sell to advertisers. They are not, and have never been, financially rewarded for verifying truth. This creates a terrifying mismatch of incentives. An idea that is 100% false, but generates 1 million angry shares and comments, is, to the algorithm, 1 million times more valuable than a nuanced, meticulously researched, factual correction that only gets 10 likes. The system is not designed to distinguish between constructive engagement and destructive outrage. It just sees a number going up. This means that over time, in a pure, unchecked engagement-driven ecosystem, the most sensational, emotionally manipulative, and often deceptive content will always drown out the most truthful content. Truth is often quiet and complex. Lies are often simple and loud. The algorithm only hears the noise. Paradox number 3, the agency double-edged sword. This is the trickiest one of all, because it's not all bad. In theory, algorithms can be incredible tools for discovery. They can surface creators, artists, and niche perspectives from around the globe that you never would have found otherwise. They can amplify the voices of marginalized communities, giving a platform to those who were previously silenced. That's an incredible, unprecedented expansion of your personal agency. But here's the other edge of the sword. At the very same time, by controlling the evidence you see, the very information you use to form your opinions, they can subtly and powerfully erode your agency to make truly informed judgments. How can you make a truly free choice when the menu of options has been secretly, invisibly curated to steer you in a specific, predetermined direction? It creates the illusion of choice while architecting the outcome. It's like a powerful river. That river can carry you to a new, undiscovered shore you never could have reached on your own. Or it can slowly, imperceptibly, carve a deep canyon that you can never escape. Both are true at once. Let's make this even more tangible. Let's run a thought experiment. Imagine a sprawling, futuristic zoo. But instead of animals, every idea is a species living in its own enclosure. This is the recommendation zoo. And the zookeeper, the algorithm, has a very specific data-driven mandate from the zoo's corporate ownership. The zookeeper's only performance metric is how many visitors gather at each enclosure in the first 60 seconds of looking. That's it. Immediate, explosive engagement is the only thing that gets rewarded. So, what kind of animals, what kind of ideas, is this zoo going to be filled with? You're going to get a lot of loud, flashy, aggressive, and easily digestible species. The enclosures up front will be filled with the outraged gorillas, constantly beating their chests and roaring about the latest scandal. They draw a huge, immediate crowd. Next to them are the conspiracy capuchins, flinging shocking, half-baked theories at everyone who walks by. Over there, you have the simple slogan sloths, who just hang there repeating the same easy-to-digest, emotionally resonant phrase over and over. They're incredibly popular and require zero effort to appreciate. Meanwhile, the quiet, complex, and slow-moving species get relegated to the back of the zoo, in small, dark enclosures where no one can see them. The Nuance Tortoise, which requires patience to understand, is hiding in its shell. The deliberation deer, easily startled by loud noises, is hiding in the thicket. And the evidence-based elephant, a magnificent creature that takes a long time to fully observe and appreciate, is starving from a lack of attention. In a zoo that only rewards the equivalent of a jump scare, these thoughtful, profound species are doomed to extinction. The habitat, the very ecosystem of ideas, is fundamentally warped by the zookeeper's simple, crude reward system. Let's try one more experiment, the two identical users. Picture two brand new accounts. Let's call them Alex and Ben. They start out as perfect digital twins. Same age, same location, same stated interests. They even perform the exact same first 5 clicks on the platform. But on the 6th click, there's a tiny, almost insignificant difference. A video pops up that's skeptical about a major scientific consensus. Alex, slightly intrigued, watches it for 3 minutes, all the way to the end. The algorithm notes this high-value signal, 100% completion. Ben gets recommended the same video, but he's distracted and scrolls past it after 2 seconds. That's it. One tiny, almost random divergence. We come back 2 months later. What do their feeds look like? Alex's feed is now a fire hose of denialism, anti-establishment rhetoric, and a dozen related conspiracy theories that have branched off from that first video. The algorithm, trying to be helpful, has built an entire world to support that initial flicker of interest. Ben's feed, on the other hand, is full of mainstream science explainers and nature documentaries. Their digital worlds, which started identically, now look like they're on different planets. This is called path dependence. A tiny, almost random difference at the beginning gets massively amplified by the algorithm's feedback loop over and over, until it creates two completely separate, mutually incomprehensible realities. Alex isn't a bad person, and Ben isn't a genius. They are both just products of the invisible current that picked them up and carried them in vastly different directions. So, after all this, are we just puppets on an algorithmic string? Is free will an illusion in the digital age? Is there any hope? Absolutely. But it requires a radical shift in our thinking. We have to move from being passive consumers to active, conscious curators of our own minds. We must understand that the responsibility for our beliefs is now shared. It's distributed between us, the users, the designers and engineers who build these systems, and the institutions and governments that regulate them. And there are concrete actions we can take on every single level. First, at the individual level, you must become a digital self-defender. This means practicing interface literacy and building mental muscles you might not have needed before. The most powerful tool here is the deliberate use of friction. Before you share that outrage-inducing article, pause. Take a breath. Count to 10. That simple act can be enough to let your rational brain catch up with your emotional brain. And then, practice lateral reading. Instead of just staying on the page and trying to evaluate it, open a new tab. Google the author, the publication, the claims. See what other, trusted sources are saying. It's what professional fact-checkers do, and it takes less than 30 seconds. And here's a specific challenge: for 1 week, go on an algorithm diet. Mute the most viral, emotionally charged topics on your feed. Intentionally follow 3 high-quality, credible sources that you normally disagree with. Use different browsers or incognito mode to see what the world looks like outside your bubble. The goal isn't to abandon your convictions, it's to make the walls of your canyon visible, to remind yourself that other landscapes exist. Second, at the design level, we need better objective functions and more ethical design. The business model of maximizing engagement at all costs is the original sin of the social media era. Engineers and designers can and should experiment with healthier metrics. What if, instead of optimizing purely for engagement, algorithms were designed to reward truth, diversity, or even curiosity? There's a fascinating concept called bridging algorithms, which would be designed to intentionally connect people across ideological divides, rewarding content that gains traction in multiple, distinct communities. We also need radical transparency and accountability. This includes things like algorithmic audits, where independent researchers can examine how these systems work and what their societal impacts are, similar to how financial audits work. Users should be able to see not just what was recommended to them, but why. The black box needs to be opened. Finally, at the societal level, we need thoughtful civic interventions. This isn't about government censorship. It's about platform accountability. It means creating rules of the road that align the platform's immense financial incentives with the health of the public conversation. This could look like updated data privacy laws that give users more control over how their information is used. It could mean supporting public interest information infrastructure, digital public squares that are not driven by advertising. And it means fostering a culture of media literacy from a young age, teaching the next generation how to navigate this complex environment with skepticism and skill. We started this journey with a private memory, a moment where your beliefs shifted. We've traced how that intimate, personal experience is inextricably linked to the vast, invisible, global architecture of our digital world. The gardeners, the currents, the zoos, they are all active participants in shaping what you hold to be true. What survives and thrives in your mind is no longer just the product of your own reason and experience. It's the outcome of a relentless, automated, planet-scale selection process. So before you go, I have a challenge for you and a question for you. First, there's a video on the end screen now. It explores another hidden system that quietly shapes our world. Watching it is the easiest and most direct way to start training your own recommendation algorithm, instead of just letting it train you. Take control. And now for the question. I want you to look at your own feed, your own personal garden, and tell me in the comments, what's one topic your algorithm is absolutely obsessed with showing you right now? Cars? Politics? Cooking videos? Conspiracy theories? Let's map out our collective filter bubbles together and see what the machine is feeding us. Finally, if you believe that understanding these hidden forces is the first, most critical step to reclaiming your own mind, then subscribe to the Science Audit. We do this every week. Our goal isn't just to give you answers, but to arm you with better questions. Until next time, keep your curiosity honest and your attention deliberate.